Hi, I'm Stacy Hoffer, and I am honored to be sitting in for our Chief Medical Correspondent, Dr. Vivian Shnaidman, because I get to interview her about her amazing new book that is just about to be released. So Vivian, please tell us the title of your book and tell us what brought you to this amazing subject.
The title of my book is Forensic Psychiatry, A Lawyer's Guide, and technically the book is out. It was supposed to be delivered to my office by today, and it wasn't. So instead we have a beautiful photograph of the front cover.
Okay.
It's here for you to look at. You can order it on Amazon or on a variety of other platforms. It's available as an ebook. You can go to Amazon or Google Books or a few other places and download it as we speak. And actually, by the time you see this program, it will be available as a nice book that you can hold in your hands.
That's what I'm hoping for.
I can't wait to hold it in my hands.
Yeah, I still like that too.
This book grew out of my frustration that all of the lawyers who hired me to be an expert psychiatrist in their cases usually didn't know what I was talking about. So I'm a forensic psychiatrist, and I work as an expert in a whole bunch of different kinds of legal cases. I work as a consultant in family law cases, in testamentary capacity cases, in criminal cases, all different types of things. And when I studied to become a forensic psychiatrist, I did a fellowship. It's a paid job. It's training after residency. I worked in a whole bunch of different venues, in a hospital for what would be called a hospital for the criminally insane. I worked in forensic clinics. I worked in all different kinds of treatment and non-treatment settings, in the court clinic. And I had to take courses in law. I had to understand how the legal system works so that I could use my knowledge of psychiatry specifically to help lawyers and judges in their cases. So I had to learn a lot. I had to learn how to brief a case. I had to memorize a gazillion landmark cases. I had to learn what the holding of the case is. I had to learn how the Supreme Court worked. I had to learn all the different types of cases. I had to learn how a case could be appealed, all that stuff that lawyers do every day.
Right.
But yet, when I would write a report for a specific reason, on a specific psychiatric legal issue, to answer a specific psychiatric legal question, a lot of times the lawyers would read my report and they didn't know what I was talking about.
Wow.
So I kind of stewed about this for years and years and years, and then I decided, you know what these lawyers need? They need a book teaching them psychiatry the way that I had to learn law. And this is it. And you know what? There is no other book in the English language to teach lawyers about psychiatry. This book is completely unique.
Fantastic. I'm so excited about it.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's a great accomplishment, and I think it's so important for lawyers to be able to have a more nuanced understanding of what are they reading in a psychiatric report, as related to a court case. So can you talk a little more? You kind of ran through different types of cases that you've been involved with. Could you maybe explain to us a little more specifically? I know you can't talk about any particular case, but
I can, as long as I didn't tell you the details.
Well,
the
examples.
You can't call the people up and say, oh, I know what you did.
Right, of course. But could you talk a little more about some of your work and types of cases you've helped with?
Sure. So one of the main types of cases that I get involved with all the time, like at least one or two a week, are cases that are handled in the family courts.
Family court cases, okay.
A lot of these cases come to me via, in New Jersey, the Division of Child Protection and Permanency, which is a public agency that is designated for dealing with the welfare of children. It used to be called DIFUS.
DIFUS, right, what we used to call DIFUS, and now it's
DC, C, and P, Division of Child Protection, DCP&P, Division of Child Protection and Permanency. I guess they had an image problem, so the first thing you do when you have an image problem is just change your name.
Right.
And a lot of times I get involved with these cases very late in the process. So there'll be some kind of issue where children are being abused or neglected, and the state has a variety of interventions they put into place to try to get these kids taken care of properly. And very unfortunately, there is no psychiatric evaluation or intervention until the very last minute.
And by that you mean psychiatric evaluation or intervention for the child or for the parents,
For whoever,
the caregivers,
for whoever needs it.
the
Now,
adults involved?
in general, a child is pretty helpless. And it's the person taking care of the child who is not doing their job correctly.
Right, right.
So I've actually done some research in this area. And I've, this is probably a different topic, but, I've identified some of the factors that lead to child abuse and neglect. The division, unfortunately, maybe is not that interested in what I've found, but there are things that can be done early in the process that would involve getting a psychiatric evaluation, identifying what the problems and the deficits are, and then correcting them early in the process. So, that's something that I think that the legal system really needs to be aware of. Because you can throw a ton of money at something, but if you're not spending the money on the right interventions,
Right.
it's not going to help.
So to put it in more concrete terms, if there's a child being abused or neglected, let's say, and mom or dad has an untreated or undiagnosed and untreated psychiatric disorder, such as schizophrenia in the more severe cases, or maybe just postpartum depression, but that adult is not getting the right diagnosis and the right treatment, the legal system tends to not really catch that until
Very
too
frequently.
late. Right.
Very frequently,
Right.
they don't catch that, or they might know something is wrong, but I've had, in the past few weeks, I've had 3 cases where somebody, a very competent non-psychiatrist, has made a referral or recommendation for a psychiatric evaluation early in the process, and somehow that hasn't happened.
Wow. That's disappointing.
So the case goes on for the required, I think it's 15 months that they have before the case moves to permanency. And then somebody says, oh my God, we're going to terminate this parent's parental rights, but we dropped the ball on the psychiatric evaluation. And part of the problem is that some of these people involved with the case, starting at the very lowest level of case managers and going all the way up to the judge often, they are not aware of the fact that the psychiatric evaluation means we're going to evaluate and then we're going to make recommendations for something that's going to make a significant change.
Right, improve the prognosis for the adults and therefore for the whole family system.
They see it more as a checklist. We did something.
Okay, so I think that really dovetails with your book, which is trying to help legal professionals be more cognizant of what's really going on psychiatrically.
Absolutely.
Right, and that's critical. So could you talk also about who else would enjoy reading your book?
I think that anybody, well, first of all, I'm a good writer. I got to pat myself on the back. I've written fiction before. Even the reports that I write for the division, they get, I know this because I'm kind of a friendly person and people tell me things. So I know that they get passed around in the offices and people say, read this report. Somebody who actually hated me once tried to insult me by telling me that my reports read like novels, which I took as a compliment. But I think anybody could read it just because it's interesting.
They wouldn't have to have a law degree to read it.
You don't have to have a law degree, you don't have to have a medical degree, but anybody who deals with people in any capacity could benefit from reading this book. And certainly anybody who works with any people that have any kind of psychiatric or emotional problems. You, I'm sure, could read this book and get a lot out of it.
Yes, I'm dying to read it.
You could download it tonight. You don't have to wait for the hard copy.
Yeah.
Although, I don't know if they're going to give you like a discount on the hard copy if you get the ebook.
I don't know. We'll have to check that out. But yes, I'm very excited. I'm very excited to read it. I think forensic psychiatry is a fascinating field. And so we just have a moment left. So just to recap, this is Dr. Vivian Shnaidman, and her book is called Forensic Psychiatry, A Lawyer's Guide.
Yes, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Yes, likewise.
It's so fun to be a guest again here.
There you go.
And when I get the hard copy, I'll bring it in and show it to everybody.
All right. Well, I'd like you to sign my copy.
I definitely will.
Okay. All righty.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Thank you.